Piece of cake, man. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so let me go through the fingerings that I used to do that altissimo scale. So when we get to high C, same, high C sharp, E flat is the same. However, a speed technique you can use is to just use the E flat key by itself, and then for E, just add the E key, and then for F sharp, just add the high F sharp key. The intonation will be a little bit low, but this is a sacrifice that you can make if you want to lip it or adjust the intonation. I'm used to playing it this way, in tune, but either way, it's good. Let me show you an alternate F sharp fingering. This is the one that I used when you saw me play this scale. I used the bis B flat with the high F sharp key. And then from here, I go to altissimo G simply by lifting the bis key. That puts me on the 1 with the high F sharp key. You guys know me. You guys know that is my favorite fingering for altissimo G. And then for A, I use 2, 3 in the G sharp key. When you go from that altissimo G to altissimo A, there is an extra bit of pressure that's there. So you want to be careful that you compensate for that. And then to play altissimo B flat, from here, I just add the palm D key. And then for altissimo C, if I'm just going up to the C, I will use what I call a split F, which is 1, 3, and 4. But since I'm going all the way up, instead of playing 1, 3, and 4, I'm just going to play 1 and 4, or what is commonly known as 1 and 1 B flat to play altissimo C. Altissimo C sharp, I just lift the 4 key. So we just have 1 for altissimo C sharp. And then for altissimo D sharp, all open. Altissimo E, I'll use the 5 key. Altissimo F sharp, I will add the E flat key with the side E key. And then for double altissimo G, 2 and 3. Double altissimo A, 1, double altissimo B flat, 2, and double altissimo C, the front key. Okay, let's move on. So obviously I have my All Things Diminished book here. I have my intro to Altissimo for alto, and I have this one also for tenor, but I decided to throw in some altissimo fingerings for the 3 fully diminished scales as a bonus. As you can see down here for the diminished book. These books are available as a digital purchase via Spring, or what was formerly known as Teespring, but I will put a link in the description below. So now let's figure out how we can actually use the diminished scale in ways that actually make sense. So I go over these things in the book, but I want to use the video as a complementary way of expressing the ideas that I have in the book. And plus, I don't want the book to be 9,000 pages long, so let's get to it. When we are talking about using the diminished scale over a dominant 7 chord, there are 2 diminished scales that we can use. Now, when I say diminished scales for this video, I'm talking about your fully diminished scales. Your diminished scales that start with either a half step or a whole step. In these videos, I'm always talking about the scale that leads, that ascends with a half step and has the alternating pattern, half whole, half whole. Okay, just to be very clear, there are other diminished scales that you can use to actually build diminished chords. I talk about that in the book, but I'm not going to go over that in this video. How do we find the diminished scales to use over the dominant 7 chord? So I'm going to do this in concert E flat. So for tenor, this is going to be F. I'm going to talk about it like we're in the key of F. So if I have F as the 1 chord, C is going to be the 5 chord. So I have a C7. How do I use a diminished scale over the C7? So let's remember the most important notes are the major third and the flat 7. So whenever you are using a diminished scale over a dominant 7 chord, you always have the major third, the natural 5, the flat 7, and the flat 9. I'm going to show you an easy way to find the diminished scale that you can use from the major scale. So let's take our F major scale. Let's go to the 5th note, which is the C. From that C, we play our diminished scale. You can hear a little bit how it's resolving itself. That's how we find one of the scales that we can use, okay? So let me mix it up a bit, make it more interesting. If you want to support the channel, ladies and gentlemen, and help this channel grow, you can buy me a piece of cake. I will put a link in the description. It's the same company as Buy Me a Coffee. This is similar to like Patreon or Kickstarter, that kind of thing. If you want to make a donation, that would be greatly appreciated. I will post a link in the description below for that. Okay, when we use that scale built off of the 5th degree, we have 2 resolution points. Those resolution points are the 5th and the major third. Okay, let's find the other scale. Let's start with our F major scale again. This time we start on the major 7th, and then we play that diminished scale leading with a half step. This time we have a resolution point, which is the major 9th and the major 7th. So ideally what we want to do is be able to mix those 2 diminished scales, so that way we have more choices, more options. So for this demonstration, ladies and gentlemen, I'm using my Cannonball Vintage Reborn instrument. I am looking to replace this with something. I would like to have some suggestions on what it is that you guys think I would enjoy playing. I'm using my regular Supertone Master Auto Link with the ligature that comes with it, with Rigotti Gold 2.5 reeds with that. So like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I do have these books that are available as a digital purchase. I have some merchandise that's here. All right, so for half a minute, I stopped doing cruise ships exclusively. I was working on land and doing cruise ships, and I had a car. I wound up giving that car to my dad. My dad just gave me a car now, so I'm going to show you guys that later in a different video, but I'm going to do some gigs and stuff, and I got some people that I'm thinking about working with and putting things together and all of that. So you guys can look forward to that. that's all I got for you today, ladies and gentlemen. So thanks for tuning in. See ya.